Shana Tova. Welcome to Temple Emanu-El's High Holiday Services for 5776. It is my honor to be your president of the Board of Trustees. My name is Andrew Weinberg. A year ago, I stood here before you telling the story of my family's improbable Jewish journey. It stretched from Europe in World War II, becoming early citizens of the, at the time, new state of Israel, and then a fresh start in the United States in the late 50s. While the story I told was very personal, it brought an unanticipated response from Temple members. From almost the minute my talk ended, and in the weeks and months that followed, many Temple members approached me to say that they both appreciated hearing my story, and they also had an interesting family history of their own, some even through similar periods and places as mine. That speech a year ago seemed to open a treasure trove of Jewish family stories I had never heard before, each one interesting and compelling in its own ways. It's become clear to me that all of these stories are really part of the story of Temple Emanu-El's family, its members. We all have that in common. Our families ended up in this place at this point in time in local Jewish history. And along the way, their experiences and interactions molded, and we continue to mold, the temple that has been an enduring institution since its founding in 1861. I remembered our long-term member appreciation Shabbat last year, where we heard the impressions and memories of Temple Emanu-El from some of its longest-serving members. Each one is a fantastic, unique, and touching window into the struggles and successes of the Jewish experience right here in our community. It's a wonderful telling of this local Jewish history and the forming of the character of our temple. But the word history is by definition looking backwards, and our temple is also here, now, and in the future. I thought about our new members dinner held just a few weeks ago. We hosted 40 of our most newly joined members for the last year, and what a wonderful mix of youth and experience it was. We had individuals, young couples, families with young children, and veterans of life. All of them had at least one thing in common. They are looking to Temple Emanu-El to be their place to make Jewish history for themselves, for their respective families, and in the community as a whole. Their enthusiasm and energy was contagious. Here was a group of perfect strangers, instantly connected and feeling comfortable in our temple and setting. Watching them, I wondered to myself, which families would form a Havarah together? Who would join our brotherhood or sisterhood? And who even might be speaking to you from this spot as a future temple president? It was truly encouraging to see this new group of members already well on their way to becoming firmly attached to the temple we all love. Whether you've been a member of Temple Emanu-El for 5 weeks or 5 generations, each one of us feels the pull towards this institution where we all have a common history and understanding. The jokes don't need explaining, the foods are familiar, Yiddish words littered in everyday conversation are commonplace and understood, and although we might complain about how long high holiday services are, we wouldn't miss them for the world. The temple is really a socio-cultural community for us, with the ability to provide for all of our community needs, mostly Jewish, but many others as well for the duration of our lives. Membership has its obvious benefits that we take advantage of regularly, such as religious school, worship services, and so on. But the temple has so much more to offer us that we might not need regularly, and that's really a good thing. Why? Because at one time or another, now or in the future, every member will need everything the temple has to offer. Think about that for a second. Contemplate what it means. To me, it's comforting and calming to know that through life's highs and lows, the temple, its resources, and the relationships I've made in this community will be the support with that special Jewish flavor that I can rely on now and far into the future. It's a nice feeling, don't you agree? This past year has had its share of challenges and successes at the temple, with eyes focused on solving issues here and now, those on the horizon, and contingencies for beyond. Among the major bright spots was the addition of a new director of education to our staff. His exceptional skills and years of experience in Jewish education will propel our religious school to even greater successes. Without a doubt, the future of our temple and our community is with our children. Their exposure, education, and firm grasp for Jewish ideals ultimately towards a Jewish life of their own. And after me driving all those carpools to religious school and Hebrew school, they better darn well join the temple too. Samantha, Rachel, Josh, you know who I'm talking about. A strong Jewish education is the key, and with a strong community around it as it grows and flourishes into our next generation. And because of what our religious school provides, that education, understanding, and community, those next young generations of ours are already well on their way towards becoming key members of the Jewish community. Just a few weeks ago, I dropped in on the EASY board planning and team building event. For those of you not familiar with EASY, E-E-S-Y, it stands for Emanu-El Senior Youth, and these are our older Temple teens creating programs and community for Jewish youth of similar ages, both within the Temple and outside. They have a fully functioning board of trustees and operate in a manner, in my opinion, far more mature than their ages might suggest. This is not a Temple-mandated education program. It's optional. It's a group they choose to be part of, to be with friends, enjoy time together, and make a Jewish impact in their own way. They spent the entire day together. They ran their own Shabbat minyan service, held multiple planning sessions, and of course several meals. It was a Jewish event. And then they concluded with a team building outing to a San Jose Giants game. I thought to myself, here they were, up bright and early on 9 a.m. on a Saturday morning, by their own choice, make a community of their own right as I watched. That is just one success of our religious school programs and for our community as a whole. These young people have made being Jewish a priority in their lives, and believe me, there are plenty of other activities they could choose instead. Their dedication and enthusiasm has been magnetic. Other teens of the Temple have become interested as well, and overall membership in EASY has more than tripled in the last year. For me, that's very convincing. The Temple is on the right path with our philosophy and priorities, and it is because of the community that you, all of you, provide that this is at all possible. Have you noticed lately that there's a new energy around the Temple? Members are just having a great time enjoying each other's company. You can feel it at the congregation-wide lunches we hold now 2 to 3 times a year for the religious school families, and even at the annual meeting this year held on a Sunday with a lunch. Your board of trustees now has the widest range of generations of Temple members, ages 28 to 73, that anyone can remember for as long as they can remember. When I joined the board 6 years ago, only 2 of the trustees had children in the religious school at that time. Now over half the board members are religious school parents, of course, including me. This board now truly has great representation for the interests of all members of the Temple. And more members are getting involved in the Temple, adding their enthusiasm and vision to the entire process. Brotherhood and sisterhood membership is up, and they are both supporting the Temple in ways beyond their already significant previous levels. Our fantastic Havurah program, where small groups of Temple families get together for events they plan themselves and build community, is steadily growing year over year. Even Connections, our monthly newsletter, is changing. It's now filled with new and different types of interesting articles contributed by members who never did before. I could go on for an hour, but I won't. To put it quite simply, things are happening. Our Temple community has momentum. And here we are back at the community of Temple Emanu-El, the one that makes all that we have possible. Look to the family on your left. Look to the family on your right. The 3 of you are the 3 legs that keep the Temple standing and stable. It is because of the dedicated support that all 3 of you provide that the Temple exists to enable our community. We should all think of ourselves as one of the 3 table legs. Without all or part of our support, the Temple could not continue to be the stable, level center of our community as we know it. It might not be able to offer the things that all of us will need eventually at one time or another. Your clergy, Temple staff, and leadership are continually and tirelessly working, planning, strategizing, and compromising to do as much as humanly possible with the resources we have. The objective is, and always has been, to provide a vibrant Temple community meeting traditional Jewish needs, but also evolving in response to new requirements of our members. More often than not, our limitations are financial, and that's unfortunate. Historically, the Temple has been able to endure due to our predecessors' commitments. Now, that responsibility rests with us, and for future generations. On this era of Rosh Hashanah, we begin the process of taking stock of ourselves and our role in the community. Here, now, we can make a difference in this community in several ways. Our annual campaign begins today and runs through the end of the calendar year, helping to secure the Temple's future for us and generations to come. Your participation at a level that is significant to you is important. All pledges are appreciated, and each one helps the Temple provide for everyone. Pledge cards are included with your program, and you can make a commitment at this very moment. Additionally, the temple needs your support in your time as a volunteer for any of a number of different activities. A special volunteer sign-up station has been set up in the lobby to pass as you leave. Please seriously consider adding your name to the list. Your involvement at any level could help achieve great things in our community, but also for yourself personally. I know what it did for me. As we enter in a new year, full of expectations and objectives, let each of us ask ourselves a simple question. In the coming year, will I be doing all I can to support the Temple Emanu-El community? Please be sure the honest answer to yourself is yes. Amen and Shana Tova.